right, what up, what up, what up? Welcome back to another episode of Breeze Talk with your boy Just Allen. Today we have a special guest, Miss Alexandria Rose, featuring Mr. Sean Cousins, aka Cuz. But before we get started, let me introduce my co-host, Mr. J Clay.
Okay, Jay Clay,
What's up?
see you.
What's up, y'all? I'm just excited to be here. Let's get it.
Yeah,
Okay, and last but not least, Miss Janae Jasmine.
I am
You
here.
are looking cute in that hat, so I
Okay,
wouldn't want to wear that crazy different hat.
you know, appreciate you, girl.
Okay. So yo, Sean, what's crazy that you and I met in Atlanta airport December of 2019, correct?
Facts.
2019. I was headed to the little smoking section. Sean was in there getting getting his Newport on or whatever. Uh, and I think there was a young lady in there. She was headed to Philly. She was a musician also. And then you was like, yo, you do music? And I was like, yeah, you was like, what's the shirt? What's your breed share? And I was like, hey, well, we're a music tech platform that allows artists to collaborate at the touch of technology. And I was having issues with getting to my laptop, and Sean was like, dang, you always on your laptop, but can't even get in, don't know the password. But long story short, like it was great that Sean and I met because every single day, like it was almost there was not a week we didn't touch with each other. And Sean continued actually mostly to reach out to me to the point where Sean made the warm introduction to Gambino. And that's when I found out about you, Alex, as, obviously one of the artists. And I was privileged enough to see you, perform with Rose Gang. So why don't you kind of like, give us a little bit of rundown of like, how you and Sean met and, how you came to meet with, get with Meet the Underdogs, which is a record label.
Yeah, definitely. So, it's crazy that you guys met at the airport like that because I heavily believe that the universe brings people together when you're supposed to be together, right? Like things just never happen by accident. I really believe that. So, Cuz and I actually met when we were we were young.
You were young.
I was so young. He was actually friends with my big brother. Like they
Okay.
were like in this skateboarding group, and like
Mhm.
I used to go to his house and steal snacks out of his mom's cabinet and stuff. So, but like,
Facts. Hey,
so-
I was the first vehicle that you drove once you got your driver's license.
Yeah.
You drove my truck.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm trusting you with my baby right now, Alex.
So yeah, we know each other definitely on a personal level. I mean, I tell everybody like this is my brother, like not my
Facts.
blood brother, but this is my brother. But like on a more professional level, I got into music like really heavily back in like 2013 around that area because I went to the Atlanta Institute of Music. I love music from a young age and I recorded a lot. But when I really started doing it professionally is once I graduated from that school because they just kind of opened up a lot of doors. And I realized that I could get my foot in the door of some places I never thought possible before that. Right. So I started doing this recording and I would go to the studio and I'd be like, "Cuz, just come in the studio with me. Let's go check this out. Let's record, let's go see what's going on." So he would come along with me and he is such a people person, able to talk to anybody. So it's just kind of branched out over the years. I did this show for Meet the Underdogs and I won first place. Hey. And after that, thank you, Cuz actually became an A&R for Meet the Underdogs. And it's just kind of taken off from there. So he's kind of doing his own thing and I do mine. We always go to performances together. He's still my studio buddy to this day. And we're just growing from there. Yeah.
Okay, facts. Okay, I appreciate this. So I'm gonna hand it off to Jay Clay because if I'm correct, you guys kind of chatted up the other day, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Facts.
Yeah, so thank you all for that. So first of all, thank you both for coming on. Before we get into the more serious questions, Alex, I did peep your recent video, Sangria, and it's fire, by the way. Very dope.
Thank you so much.
But it leads me to ask, what is your drink of choice? Is it sangria or is it something else?
Oh, I love sangria as long as I make it myself. Okay, so that's my thing.
Okay.
I'm always drinking sangria like in the summer. When I wrote that song, I just happened to be in the studio and I was like, I got some sangria in my red cup. And I just kind of
Okay.
threw that in there. And I always have red wine. Like that's a big thing. My family is Sicilian. My grandma came here on a boat
Okay.
from Sicily. So I've been drinking red wine my whole life. So I make it myself with fresh fruit. but to be completely honest, my drink of choice is tequila. Anytime I'm out, I will
Woo,
go a
girl.
shot of tequila over
Not
anything. Yeah.
tequila. Ooh.
I don't like sweet drinks, so
Tequila's more of a
with-
night ender for me. My night is
Yeah.
over if you see me drinking tequila ever.
Tequila.
I'm done. I'm done for.
drinker, but like for some reason tequila doesn't give me a hangover. I don't like stuff with
Okay.
hungover the next morning. I got a lot of stuff to do. I don't have time to be hungover. So
I just turn into a different person when I drink tequila. So
Hold on. So speaking of that, speaking of tequila being like your drink of choice, like I mean, how do you balance like, you know, the party life or, you know, versus or the event life versus being an artist?
So to me, like the party life and the event life, all that is really fun. But at the end of the day, my artistry and my creativity is the most important. I'm really not that much of a partier. When I go out and I go to events, I definitely turn it on. I always am really high energy, so I have no problem being in an event space like that. But when I'm at home, I don't really drink like that. I don't really party. I don't really go out. I'm actually a mom of 2 and I'm married. So I have to balance a lot in my life, and I'm a personal trainer. See now I gotta stay healthy.
Okay.
I have to have a lot
I
of
remember
energy.
we
So I
talked
do
about
drink
that.
a little when I go out. But if y'all ever notice, I don't really. I'll always get drinks for everybody else, and I might have 1 or 2, and that's kind of where I end it because I'm a high energy person, anyways. Like I don't need alcohol to be lit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
Absolutely. So we talked a little bit yesterday. Can you define for the listeners what is Rose Gang? Hashtag Rose Gang, that movement that you
okay.
got going on.
So the Rose Gang movement for me started as I was releasing stuff as an artist. It was really speaking about me as an artist and my brand, but also all the people that come along with me, like Cuz, like all the people that come to the shows, my engineer. Rose Gang is a movement about positivity, about being kind to others and lifting other artists up. You know, we don't go to events or live reviews and hate on other artists. We go and meet other people and tell them, like, if I like another artist, I'm like, hey, you were really dope. Like, that was a cool thing. So it's about this energy that we bring to the table. It's about manifesting what we really want in life. And whenever we do live reviews, we kind of take them over. We get everybody in the room and everybody comments Rose Gang. So it's
that emoji, the rose emoji. If you ever see that on a live review,
everybody knows us for Rose Gang. For
Alex
sure.
has
those are
been
going
there.
crazy, and they piss people off to a certain extent because they're like, "Hey,
They're
you're
like, "All right,
filling our
that's enough
comments with roses." But it's like, look, you said come in and have support, have a support system, and you'll play our
Definitely.
song, and boom, we got 1,000 roses on the page.
Right.
Let's go.
Right. And branding yourself as an artist is one of the most important things. So that's a way that we've used to brand ourselves. Like I said, it's not just me as an artist, as Alexandria Rose, it's everybody else that I bring with me. Like we're all Rose Gang and we all uphold this specific standard, like where we're kind to others. We have lit ass energy. We have a good time and we're fierce too. Like we really know what we want.
Okay, facts.
So that's definitely important, I believe, for fans, as you said, like to provide them that sort of consistency, like know what to expect. Like when I'm hopping into a Rose Gang performance, I know what to expect, so I'm going to keep following them because it's very consistent. What is the vision for Rose Gang in the long run, if you have one at this point?
For Rose Gang in the long run, it's just to kind of create this collective of people. Cause like I said, it's not just the people that we're closest to or my team. It's anybody that's a fan. Like if you're a fan of me as Alexandria Rose, you're in the Rose Gang. So the long-term vision of that is to kind of build this model where as we're making more and more money, we're reaching out and we're helping other people. Rose Gang is going out with, you know, maybe Cuz's company that he's starting, Fresh Start, and we're helping feed homeless people. We're bringing other artists in. If there's some way I can connect you, you know, you can hit up Rose Gang and we can reach out and connect you to somebody that you need. That song Winning Streak that I kind of modeled from Charlie Jabley, and I've learned a lot from him. And I want to be able to create a movement like that where we're really helping people and helping change people's lives. So my vision is to maybe create a school later on. You know, I went to school for audio engineering and music production, but that shit is expensive. It's hard to pay that off. And that's not accessible to everybody. I want to be able to create a school that people can walk into and afford to learn music production, engineering, you know, recording, know how to step in the studio without having to pay all that money to get in. So I definitely have a lot of visions for Rose Gang, and I definitely see it growing really big in the next couple of years for sure.
Right. It sounds like it's like an overarching like community, you know, with like different people that you're bringing in. So that's amazing. It's really great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it's catchy. So,
Yeah.
a lot of, a lot of the stuff that actually takes off, it's very short, it's simple, it's to the point. So,
Right.
Rose Gang,
We
let's
always
go.
go in. We're always like gang, gang, Rose
Gang,
gang.
gang,
It
Rose
shows so
gang,
easy, and
that's it.
everybody catches on to it. And we have everybody like any performance we go to our live, we have everybody saying Rose gang. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like it starts with music, but then it sort of builds off to something bigger than that, and like almost like philanthropy. You mentioned like Fresh Start with Cuz. I do want to touch on that, Cuz, about like
Yeah,
what
absolutely.
Fresh Start is.
So I'm in the process of creating a 501c3. I have a proprietary way that I want to conduct the business that I feel um, is not being fully uh, utilized at the moment. So I have a different approach, and I'm going through the steps to get it all legal to where I get my donations and they go to the right places, and I, can get some of these abandoned buildings from some of these really big companies that basically can use this as a write-off. So like I've done a ton of thought and notes and things like that, but as to be honest, as the physical business approach, it is kind of expensive to start a 501c3.
Yeah.
So I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Okay, great.
That was I would say that's kind of like one of the working conversations that Sean and I actually like usually keep up with each other. Where it's not about music. We usually hey, what do you think about this business venture? What do you think about this idea?
You already know we got a couple of those, and all that came from just networking, bro. Meeting you, meeting my boy Liam, meeting Alex. Like all this just comes from being one of those type of people that goes into a room and is not afraid to talk to anybody. So
question for you, Alex. So since like Cuz is kind of like your point man, like what is it like with you all when you have like you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do this because I don't really feel good about this. I don't really feel really prepared. Like, what are those moments like or whatever like that? And like how is he able to help you keep on track, given that he does more than just like, work with you in your music, but oversees your performances, attends your performances, different things like that. So he works in different facets. So, how is that for you when you have those moments where you're unsure?
Ooh. I mean, we're just really honest with each other. Like, if there's something I'm not feeling, I'm a pretty outspoken person. If there's something I really feel uncomfortable with, for like a reason, something that I don't stand for, I don't do it. I think that, like I said, as I'm branding myself and my image means a lot and it's important. So if there's something I don't believe in, I'll speak out against it. But if there's something he wants me to do, it's a pretty easy conversation. Like I said, he's more like my brother. So any conversation we have, we're super honest with each other. If
That's
I'm
definitely a great
uncomfortable, he
business
definitely,
partnership to have.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
definitely.
I didn't mean to
And if
Absolutely.
I need to be like hyped up, or if I'm feeling uncomfortable or anxious about something, he's
Exactly.
definitely there to hype me up too. Be like, nah, you
Okay.
fucking got this. Like, let's go. Or even like if I
Facts.
like there's been like outfits or my hair that looks like crazy sometimes.
Oh, I'm
He's
brutally
like,
honest. Like I'll
Yeah.
tell her, like,
nah,
Alex, that ain't
you
it.
shouldn't wear that. Like,
And
fuck
I'm
you.
best friends with her husband. So
Yeah,
it
so-
works out because I'm like, I'm gonna be honest, for this show, that's
Like,
not hot enough, or that's too hot, or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it just depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, fact.
And I take any input with a grain of salt. And sometimes
Mhm.
if I really feeling something, I do it anyways. I'm like, well, you know what? I picked this out.
I'ma
I like
rebel
it,
it
so,
out.
But yeah, we're brutally honest with each other.
Facts.
We definitely
But major support systems on both sides. So
Right.
like anything I got going on, she supports. Anything she's got going
Exactly.
on, I support.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we're talking about like your live performances and stuff like that. So we recently seen a lot of them on your social medias. So what is it that you like most about like live performances, and how do you feel like it's helped you grow within the Rose Gang? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah. So, the reason why I started making music in the first place was to express myself, was to have an outlet, right? I dealt with anxiety and depression like almost my whole life. So when I'm writing my music, when I'm creating my music, I'm really creating something to try to connect with other people. That's the most important thing to me, is to connect to a fan base or connect to a crowd. So putting things out online is great, and letting people listen to my music is awesome, but there's something different about a live show where you can really connect with people and have that conversation with them afterwards and be like, man, those lyrics just really like touch me in this specific way. And there's just a different energy with a live show that you just don't get from releasing online. So I really enjoy that. There's always, like a lot of energy and adrenaline that goes along with it. I love everything about live performing. Um, and it's kind of crazy right now. This year has been weird with the quarantine and everything. So that's always in the back of my mind. But we've been doing some smaller shows, as we go. And hopefully in the next couple months, everything will open up and we can really get back into the big crowds again.
Soon we're gonna
So-
have our own show,
Yeah, definitely.
like a whole night, 9 to 11, dedicated
Yeah.
strictly Rose Gang.
Awesome.
Okay, nice.
Looking
Nice.
Definitely gonna have to pull up to that. I can expense that through reshare.
Right,
I'm
exactly.
sure. So no so what type of like music and artists you listen to growing up?
Yeah.
Oh,
Um,
Chris is like, yeah, sure. Sorry, Alex. So what type of music you listen to growing up? How has that evolved or maybe stayed the same over the years? And like which specific artists too?
Oh man. So I've kind of always listened to a little bit of everything. I feel like my inspiration has come from a lot of different genres and artists.
Okay.
So growing up like really young, I was like obsessed with TLC. I wanted to be Left Eye. Like she even through college, like I even did a report on her. So I love TLC. I grew up listening to them. I grew up listening to like a lot of like Lenny Kravitz, stuff like that. And then as I got older, I really got, I loved Eminem. I'm really into J. Cole. I'm so inspired by Russ. I love pop
Yeah.
artists like Doja Cat. You know what I mean? I think she's so dope. And I like Cardi B gets so much hate, but I fucking love Cardi. Like I think she's so cool.
She's
I
a
love how she
goat.
just has like yes, and she just has like this I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks attitude, and that's kind of how I go into things too. Like I'm going to do what I'm doing. If you receive me in a good way, that's awesome. I love it, but if you don't like me or what I'm doing, I really don't give a fuck. I don't care what you guys think, cuz like I was telling you yesterday, this at the end of the day, this is all just a really objective industry. Everything is kind of based on opinions. So I've won $500 in a live review and gone the next day and someone told me my song was trash. And that's when I realized like, I'm okay. These are just a bunch of opinions and you can't please everybody. You can't make everybody happy. So yeah.
Well, I was gonna say because she started talking about like some of the artists that she, listened to and were influenced by. So I was starting to talk about like, how we had Jay Roach on here the last time. He was saying that if he could model his career, he could or persona after anyone, he would be Will Smith or it would be Will Smith. So like my question is gonna be for you, how could you like, who would you model yours after if you could shape your career? Like who would it be? Who would you shape yours after?
Yeah. So I was like he was like Russ. Yeah. I love what Russ has done. I love him as an artist. I love the vibe that he comes in. He has his own studio at home. He produces his own music and just like does his own thing and releases song after song after song. I think he went for an entire year at one point and released like what was it, like one song a week or maybe even more than that. So I love his work ethic. I love the vibe that he comes with and I love his sound. And he really is just one of those artists that he's not trying to create what everybody wants to hear. He creates what he likes and what he wants. You know what I mean? And that's something that I always want to do is stay true to myself. I'm not really making music that's hot right now or that is really popular. I'm really doing this stuff like from my soul and from my heart. And that's what I always plan on doing, you know?
Awesome.
So
That's interesting because our last artist that Janae just brought up, Jay Roach. So he's like a model, rapper, producer. He lives in LA, and he said the same thing about Russ. So he said his person you want to be like is Will Smith, but one of the people that like is super inspiring to him. He said he's not even a huge fan of Russ's music, but just like his approach to everything and his attitude and personality, he just loves that about Russ so much. So that's interesting. Like it's two different artists. You guys are both very positive. I know you don't know who Jay Roach is, but you guys are both very positive artists. So it's interesting. You guys both look up to Russ as well.
Yeah.
because he's a dope ass person.
Good energy.
Yeah.
You said you were born in, I forget the city name, but it was right outside of Atlanta. Can you say it again?
I'm from Conyers.
Okay. So
Yeah.
living there your whole life, pretty much, how much has like being right near Atlanta influenced your love or passion towards music, do you think? Because that's like a music hub pretty much, obviously.
Right. Yeah. Like I came from this area of like a flourishing hip hop music scene, right?
Yeah.
So my whole life has been inspired by music. My aunt actually worked for the CNN Center growing up. So I was around like a lot of audio engineers. She would take me to work with her and like set up an office. So I got to meet like Ted Turner and all these big people and kind of mess with these audio boards and do a lot of stuff with her. So I kind of like was really interested in audio engineering at a young age. And she would take me to concerts. Like she took me to like Ricky Martin and like the Spice Girls. And I just fell in love with like the whole vibe of like big elaborate concerts and sound stages. And I think that just kind of grew from there. And when I was in my teen years, like I would sneak out of the house and go to random studios with people just because I could get to these studios, you know, that were within driving distance. So I would like run away from home and go hang out in studios and write music and go to these like random you know, pop-up music parties. So I definitely think the area that I grew up in influenced my career heavily, for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Do you play any instruments at all? I'm just curious.
When I was
Ish,
younger,
ish.
I do have somewhat of a background in music production. So I play a little piano, I can play a little guitar, and I can kind of dabble with anything for a little while. If I sit with it long enough, I'm a pretty quick learner, so I can pick stuff up.
Okay.
So yeah, a little bit.
Not anyone can learn to play an instrument though. Not anyone can learn to play a microphone though. That's what I always say.
That is very true.
I can't do it. I can't do either though. So
You could if you tried though. Like if you really tried, you could do it.
I could do what?
Play an
You can
instrument.
master anything at 10,000 hours, my friend.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
know. 10,000, you're like, oh my God. That sounds like a lot. It is.
You're right. I played the guitar for like a year and it didn't go well. I just know some chords. That's all I got from that.
Yeah, like I said, I kind of dabble in it. When I was in high school, I was really into like I never took any other extra class beside chorus. So it was always like show chorus, and then we got this guitar class, right? So every morning I would skip school. I would never go. I was a bad kid, but I would go to guitar class and then I would skip school. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I learned how to play and dabble, and anything that had anything to do with music, I was there. Otherwise, I was totally uninterested and you could not get my attention for anything. So,
Hold on.
So you heard it here first. If you want to be successful in music, you got to skip class, kids.
Why were you skipping
go to your
class?
music class. Go to your I would skip school and go hang out with rappers and like hang out in studios. So I was like, you know, I don't really need these classes. I got this. You know, I was really
I
into
feel that.
like I was into like science and literature. But other than that, I was like, all right, I'm dipping out. I'm gonna go hang out with my buddies and record and write songs. And so I just kind of, it's what I was always into. That's the only way you can get my attention. I didn't make fantastic grades through high school. I kind of got by, but I went to the Atlanta Institute of Music and I graduated with a 3.9 GPA because I was so interested in that. And I was 7 months pregnant, like big as hell, going to this school that was 90% men. I was like, me and two other females were in there. I was like the random girl that was pregnant as hell with my son, who is also into music now, which I like to, you know, take credit for that. I'm like, that's because you were in the womb the whole time I was in school. But yeah, so that's been the one thing I was interested in, the one thing you can catch my attention with my whole life.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely. That's amazing. I'm sorry, I'm going to cut you off because I actually, you know, as women, we're going to have to, you know, talk really quick. So I just want to know, how did you feel about like being in like a male dominated field? So me, I'm a mechanical engineer. And of course there's only like men and I'm one of like a couple females. I'm the only Black female, but like just how did that affect you, you know, going there? And you said you were pregnant as well. Like, you know, how did you feel? How did that make you feel?
I already felt a little out of place. Like you couldn't let anything slide. You have to come in there with this fierce ass attitude, right? Like I'm in here and I deserve this just as much as you guys. Plus all of my teachers were male, which I'm not saying it was like a sexist vibe, but it's different being one of the only females, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, and I didn't start school pregnant, but a couple months in, I, you know, realized I was pregnant, and it's crazy, but I hid it until I showed because I was so scared that I would be counted out of stuff. Just because I was already different by being a female and then being pregnant, like nobody could really relate to that or understand what that was like. So it was definitely different. And I had to come in with this vibe, like, this is who I am. This is how I'm coming today. And you guys are gonna respect it,
what?
period. I said, how is it for you? Like,
Oh,
how is
girl.
it for you going?
Oh, that is gonna be a whole. I mean, long story short, my cohort is 265 students. I'm the only Black female. There's other females, but I'm the only Black female. Um, if you can imagine, I mean, I don't know if you can imagine that, but it's just like, you know, I'm already out of place, one, because I'm Black, and two, because like my outfits are crazy. Like I wear 7-inch platforms to class, to lab. And
Now
like,
you got to wear a neck brace too. That's crazy.
Right, yeah.
I knew that was coming. I was waiting on it.
oh my God,
Yo,
just hit me when I'm
I
already
didn't
down.
I
God
didn't think
damn,
so.
I might as well just put it the fuck back on if y'all gonna keep talking about it, because Lord knows it feels so much better.
I didn't do it
My
this
fucking
time,
head
man.
is heavy as fuck. But anyway, I'm not even gonna put that shit back on. But no, like, I mean, I definitely can relate to you, because it's like, you know, you already feel out of place, one, because you're a woman, and then like, you know, I mean, and plus, I mean, I don't know, I don't really care what people think. So, you know, however I come in looking is how I'm about to come in looking. So, you know,
Exactly.
like, that's what it's about.
If I can give one message to any females coming up out there, is to never water yourself down to make everybody else happy.
Yes.
Period. You go out there and you be yourself and you do your thing and don't worry about anybody else around you ever.
Yep.
So, you know, I think that makes you stronger. You know what I
does.
mean?
It
Being
definitely
that guy at a place that doesn't fit in with everybody, it makes you stronger. You know, you you build this thick skin. And I think that's honestly, I think it's helped me with my artistry, because, you know, you get like good and bad reviews, and I'm so used to being like, well, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. So it's just kind of like benefited me in a way, you know.
I feel like in music especially, you probably learn most from experience. But me, obviously, I've never been to music school before. What do you feel like you took most from that, if not just like a badass persona coming out, being like one of the only females?
I want to go back. Because it's just there was so much that you learned there. There's so much in music school, and we actually had to clock in, right? So it was a quick like 1-year program. I think I clocked in over 1,100 hours. I hit 1,100 hours, and then the computer wouldn't let me clock in anymore. Like I had other guys reaching out to me, because I would literally go to school and sleep there. They're like, "Hey, will you clock me in?" Like, yeah. What you gonna do for me today? But no, like every day, Atlanta Institute of Music, at least, because, you know, I've never been to another music school beside that. They gave us so many resources, and they really put us in there and wanted us to win. So if there was ever anything that I had a question about or anything that I needed extra tutoring in, they were always there to help me. They had these studio rooms set up. All you had to do was book them out, and you could record songs whenever you wanted. There were instruments available to us. I learned Pro Tools and Ableton while I was there.
Okay.
They had like a mic locker, you know, so I was able to go pick up these crazy mics I could never afford by myself and use them for that time being. So if it's something that anybody watching this is considering, I definitely recommend it all the way, because it changed my life. And I'm not even exaggerating there. Like, I don't think I would be where I am today without going to school.
Well, you said you
Right.
you could go back. Like, what's stopping you? You said you want to go back. What's stopping you?
Oh, I just enjoyed it so much. I feel
Okay.
like, you know, maybe I don't want to spend another, you know, $20,000.
Well,
So-
there's that. There's that.
Right.
There's
So
that.
but no, I love being in that environment at all times. Like I said, I would just go up there and I didn't want to leave, just being around so many other passionate people. So maybe I'm not stopped from going back. I'm going to build it myself. You know what I mean?
That
Like
can
build
work.
that environment for other people.
So now I have
I'm gonna
another like
manifest that right now.
random question. So since you have like an ear for it, like if you hear something, like say you're like out or whatever at a perform, or maybe if you're performing and you hear something like, oh, that shit is trash. Like, what are you doing? Like, do you like what? How does that like? I don't know what I'm actually trying to ask, but like, can you hear like when stuff doesn't sound how you? Not like that you think it's supposed to sound, but
Yeah.
like it doesn't sound good.
Oh yeah. You can tell like when somebody doesn't have something mastered, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or they really just didn't put the time in, or maybe they need a new engineer, or maybe the speakers at the event all crash. Like definitely have for that. But like I said, like as Rose Gang comes in, I don't go and tell somebody like, hey, your shit is trash, you suck, you shouldn't do this anymore. I'm like, why don't you you know, if anybody asks me for my opinion,
Offer insight.
right,
Yeah.
offer some insight and be like,
That's it.
why don't you do this instead? I know a really great engineer. I'm gonna go
Exactly.
ahead and shout out my boy Grown right now, because I love my engineer.
Grown man.
Yes,
You
go
the man,
mix
brother.
it. Chris McLean, y'all. So I'm not afraid to share my resources. I go and tell people, look, this engineer didn't do a good job. Let me give you my boy's number. Go hit him up. I got somebody for you. You know what I mean? Like I really reach out and try to help people and share my resources with people as much as I can. You know what I mean?
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have any projects that you made in school that are like available for streaming, or are most of your projects after that, or like you wouldn't want us to hear them?
Oh, they're trash. Like I'm
They're
not even gonna
trash.
lie, they're trash. I've gone back and
Okay.
listened to them. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad that I've grown from this point. I don't know, maybe one day if we're all hanging out together, I'll let you guys hear them. But
I'm sure they're not that bad. We all have hindsight bias. When we look back, we're like, oh, like what was I thinking like 2 years ago? But now, like 2 years from now, you're gonna be thinking that about now anyway. So
right, and
I'm
that's
sure
a
they're
good
fine.
thing. That's a good thing, right? Because you always
Yeah.
want to grow and you always want to get better and improve. And that's
Yeah.
something about me. I'm definitely always like, I'm never like, oh, that was perfect. That was 100%. I'm like,
Mhm.
we could fix that. We could do that a little bit better next time. And I think that's a good attitude to have, is to like constantly grow. But if anybody really wants to hear some beats that I made in school, I don't delete anything off my Instagram. I have stuff all the way back from like 2016 because I want people to be able to see my journey and my growth at all times, right? So if you scroll back to my SoundCloud, it's under Alexandria Music. I do actually have some beats that I made that I'm gonna go ahead and warn you guys are trash.
I'm
But they're
excited to
there
hear
because
'em.
I want to be able to inspire people that way. Like everybody starts out bad. Not everybody. Some people are just born here with like, an amazing voice, like come out at birth as Michael Jackson, right? That wasn't me. I had to grow into myself and really kind of evolve into who I am today.
But
For
I want
sure.
to jump in on that real quick because the growth of this woman right here has been a pleasure to watch, first of all, just to
Thank
be a
you.
part of, right? And then is so inspiring too, because when you really started off and you're learning everything and you're let's just face it, you're not that good, right? You're starting off.
Yeah.
But as that confidence grows and as those lyrics grow, as the the range grows, like everything about her as a person is just very inspiring. Very inspiring.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate that.
Son.
I'm just saying, like, even
That
as
is
an
very-
artist standpoint, like, I
Right.
mean, she's one of my best friends, regardless of this or
I
anything
got
else. But
I can tell it was very genuine and sincere.
No,
for
no,
sure.
I knew it was genuine. I'm just giving Sean shit.
of course he is.
Yeah.
I know.
But that's facts though,
Cheers,
because
brother.
he's one of the few people that really have been with me for like the entire journey since when I really didn't take stuff seriously. I was
Prime
skipping
example,
class.
go listen to some of her stuff from like 2018, 2019, and then listen to the stuff now. You can just exponentially hear the growth.
I agree. Yeah.
Yo, you know what? And you know what, Sean? I'm gonna go do that. Remember, because actually, when you came over, like what is it, last week, before that, something like that. Like I was just like, hey, listen to this. Does it sound good? And we were like, okay, it sounds good. But the thing is, it sounds like this. It sounds the same, like everybody else. You know what I mean? And so, given like, so that's important to have like obviously great input and feedback. But my other follow-up question, just for you, Alex, is when it comes to being in Atlanta, being that this is like like where music and everything is, like the culture is very much so rich here. How do you find your space within like being that Atlanta is so oversaturated or so saturated with trap artists and rappers and female rappers and music and all that stuff? Like, how do you find your place in all of it?
I think the best thing you can do, like I was saying, I don't make music that like to like fit in or be cool or be like this specific sound. It's like just be yourself. And that's really what I've tried to do the whole time. Like I definitely take inspiration from other artists and the way they move and their sound, but at the end of the day, I'm just putting out whatever was instilled in me, whatever, the seed God planted in me. I just try to like get the message from him and put it out that way. So like just be yourself, be who you are. Like that's what everybody wants to see at the end of the day. You know what I mean?
The way I see it, like obviously there's a lot of artists that aren't themselves and they like put on characters like when they rap and everything. My thing is it what do you say? Well, my thing is personas. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. So my thing is like, if you make it and you're famous, but you're acting like someone else, like, what are you gonna live your whole life as a person that's not you? Like, that doesn't even sound good, even though you're making money. Like, you literally have to be someone else. So I see
Yeah.
exactly what you're saying. Yeah, just be
It
yourself.
sounds
And
exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
Like nobody can be you but you.
Yeah.
That's the great
That's
thing
facts.
about that. Like, how can anybody can compete with something that they aren't? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All right, so before we wrap up the podcast, you guys a chance to go ahead and put your plugs out there for any upcoming projects you may have coming up. Alex, also I know Rose Gang has a performance coming up. Also, I want to say is it the 21st? I believe or something like that. Like Primrose has something coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, Primrose, man, that girl has the craziest work ethic. I think she has a performance tonight. I know she has one Monday at Osaka. So y'all go
Yeah.
check out at Miss Primrose. She has performances constantly. I definitely have one coming up March 5th at Osaka with AJ and Hustle Streets Music Group.
Okay.
And I'm about to release a video. Well, I got to shoot the video for Winning Streak first. So we're actually shooting the video for Winning Streak on the 5th, and then I'm going to head over to Osaka and do the performance over there the same day. And I'm creating a whole album right now.
Okay, cool.
So far it's been called Platinum Rose. It might change by then, we'll see. But so I'm kind of putting everything together. Winning Streak will definitely be on Platinum Rose. And I got some other songs that I'm pretty excited about that are all going to be on that too. So y'all definitely stay on the lookout for that. And if I can shout out some people, I definitely have some. Like I said, I already shouted out Grown, my engineer. He's awesome. Shout out to Miss Primrose, Trey, Joey Hartella, Michaela, everybody else from the dancers from Rose Gang. Shout out to my hubby upstairs. Shout out to everybody that's been a part. My sister Annalise, Curly Annalise. You met her the other night too.
Cool.
She's always there, part of Rose Gang. She does my makeup for me every time. So if anybody needs a makeup artist and likes my look, y'all definitely hit her up. Shout out to Meet the Underdogs.
Yeah.
I fuck with them heavy. They definitely opened up some doors for me too. Got me that feature with Sleepy Rose. And anybody else that's been involved, anybody else that has supported me as an artist and like the Rose Gang movement. Shout out to BREEZE and all you guys. So.
All right, big facts. All right, my boy, Sean Cousin.
Hey man, you already know. Like, shout out to the opportunity.
Yeah.
It was great meeting you. You know what I'm saying? We've definitely became good friends over this time. And shout out to you guys as well. Appreciate you guys having her on here and giving us another platform to just kind of share what we got going on and keep things moving forward. This is going to be a big year. Like, we're in the second month and we've already done a ton of stuff, and like, this is just getting started. You know what I mean? So I'm just excited for the future and appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, facts. And I'll probably be at the Monday event for Osaka. So just to put that out there. All right, so before we sign off, let my co-host get an outro. It's Mr. J. Clay.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all coming on. You mentioned Winning Streak earlier, Alex, and that I listened to it yesterday, and it's already on my workout playlist also. So it is fire, by the way. That you can't stop running.
Shout out to Charlie Jabley with that one too, because Winning Streak was totally based off of Charlie Jabley and his movement, his mantra, Winning Streak. I was so inspired by that. I decided to write a song about it. I got a tattoo on my arm right here that says Winning Streak. So y'all go check out Charlie. I know you already did. So yeah. Definitely heavy on the manifestation and the positive movement for sure.
Yeah, it's such a good vibe. You can't stop. You're running on the treadmill or finishing your set out when you're working out. Listening to winning, saying I'm on a winning streak. Like, how are you gonna stop? Anyway, I love the song.
Right.
So thank you, and thank you, thank you both for coming on. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you for adding that to your playlist. That's so awesome.
Yeah, that's dope.
All right, and then Janae.
I'll say honestly, just thank you for jumping on here. I love to hear, women out here changing the game, in a man's world. That is definitely my goal. I love to hear about that. I love it. So definitely shout out to you for that. You too, Sean, thanks for jumping on here.
Thank you guys.
See you guys.
Thank you so much.
Bye.